vh1 and we're live and I've got questions for you. I'm Angela. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And the channel is Be Fabulous You. What opens with Kiara saying Gunplay has problems and he needs to seek help. And what closes with me saying, why is Amara dealing with this young Hollywood? She has problems and she needs to seek help. If you guessed, Love and Hip Hop Miami Season 1, Episode 8, Real Talk. You're correct. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. I got something on my nose. It's itching. And sticking around to see how we get from opening to closing. We're still working on our first 1,000 subscribers. So if you are already one of my charter subscribers, I really, really appreciate it. If this is not your first time watching the channel, welcome back. And if you're new to the channel or not a subscriber, welcome back. Or whatever, and go on ahead and subscribe. What you waiting for? Go on, hit the button now. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. It doesn't cost you anything to get this content, but likes, comments, subscribes, and shares are sure welcomed and appreciated. Now I got this new thing up. I just went and got something else black and white. That's my mama. A whole bunch of different photos of her. But now I can't hear who came in the room and what's going on. Oh, hey!
I'm trying to find that stuff I carry across the ocean. Bats, some nuts and shit.
Nuts? You trying to find food? She's scavenging. It's a squirrel in the house, Rocky. She's scavenging for food. Okay, so we got Kiara. We open with, let us proceed with the recap review. So we open with Kiara and she's saying, you know, Gunplay has problems. He needs to seek help. Until he admits it, I can't deal with him. And then she's arriving at Chinese Nikki's house, and she updates Chinese Kitty on Gunplay using again in his video glorifying drug use. And Kiara has not heard a peep from Gunplay since the video shoot. And she said she didn't break up with him, so he can reach out. And Chinese Kitty is like, you know, I feel bad. You know, you want to help them. I understand how you feel. You want to get them out of the situation. So I know where you're coming from because I've had that personal experience myself. And Chinese Kitty and Kiara are crying. And Kiara's like, how do I just give up? You know, it's actually... It's you know, it's a beautiful sentiment because how do you give up on somebody who has an issue and you like just do better, and if they could do better they would do better, but do you stick with them and go down with the ship just because they can't do better? If you can do better, it's just kind of like, I don't know. So we see Trina. She's getting an award or some recognition from the city of Miami. We proclaim today to be Trina Day for the city of Miami. And Joy is there in support. And then on their way from leaving, Joy is telling Trina that Trick finally gave in and that... he's gonna pay for his half of the divorce. So she just been going all of that for him to pay for his half of the divorce. I wonder how much the divorce cost. $400. He got paid $200. She wouldn't just go on and do it and get it over with and done with. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the principle of the thing. I don't understand. But she does understand and she knows from experience that he is flaky. But, you know, let us hope, let us pray, you know. And she says that she wants to get out and date publicly. And she wants to go on a double date with her cousin. That's her cousin, right? Trina. And then Trina like, well, who am I going to be dating? And Joy is like, well, someone in our circle is your secret admirer. They're really into you. They got their eye on you all the time. And it's like, well, who? And it's Raymond. Who is that? And then we see some footage. So I guess we know now who Raymond is. And then she's like, oh, you know, I know him. He's around me. He's my friend. We have great chemistry. But can I take the chance? And then, you know, she says she's going to try since Joy took the risk and ended her relationship thing. And then we see JoJo at home and she's saying how Veronica is the least of her problems. My parents' divorce proceedings have gotten really messy. They've gotten worse. My mom's lawyers have reached out to me. I've been subpoenaed to talk about the store's finances. The store, I have to show the store's records. They want to show that dad has enough money to pay mom's settlement. And then the mother is like, I worked for the family for 28 years of my life. You know, I was a good housewife. And why is he trying to leave me with nothing? Now, if you work for a company for 28 years and then, you know, you retired or you all severed ties, I mean, I guess it depends on what type of arrangement you had with the company, what you would expect. Because there's some people who work, like, let's say, as domestics or whatever, and at the end of their career, they don't really have anything. And then there's some people who, they work for companies and they're supposed to have a pension. And then at the end of the time, the company is like, oh, we bankrupt, we can't pay you. It's some people who get their pensions. It's some people who get less than the company agreed. But I guess they didn't have an agreement up front about what would happen. But yeah, 28 years seems like a long time. And I think, you know, I don't know what type of housewife she was and what was going on, but it seems like 28 years seems like a long time to then just be with nothing, you know. And then also, I mean, she's not like an unattractive woman, but if your trade is, you know, if your trade was being cute and being a trophy wife, it's a little bit harder to exercise that trade. You know, the difference between me at 25 and me at 45, I mean, you know, there's a whole bunch going on. It's more that I had to work with at 25 than at 45, you know. And also, I think more prospects. Because at 25, I could choose from the 25, the 30, the 35, the 40, the 45, the 80, the 85. When you get to be 45, I guess you could choose from some 30s. But they usually aren't established enough. So I don't know. I'm just processing, you know, the 28 years is it's a long time, and it's her you know, her prime years if you in the trade of being cute. You know, I'm not saying she's not cute, but but then I always pay attention to these stories of these older women getting with older wealthy men, and you know, I guess some people keep doing it their whole life, so I don't know. She said she was a good housewife, and then the daughter is like, why do I have to go to court? Why are you highlighting my business? Why not, you know, my brother's business? What about dad's 100 other businesses? You know, I don't want to be in court to testify against my dad. And then the mom is like, hey, you need to testify. And the mom is like, you need to decide. And JoJo is like, both of you are my parents. Why do I need to decide? I don't know what's going on with my nose. I think it's this. I'm getting killed. We see Veronica, and she is set up a bike ride from Atlanta to Miami. It's a 14-day thing. The people who are in the ride are non-athletes, and it's not her first time doing it, but it's her first time leaving it. And I was sort of impressed and surprised. Like, I feel like that's very substantive. A 14-day bike ride, that's like not a you can't really fake the funk on that. I mean, either you can do that or you can't do it. It's like either that's her thing or it's not her thing. So, I mean, I'm looking at Veronica a little bit different and make her look like she have a little more substance to me, to a sister like me. I'm just saying, what you think? Shay, we see Shay on a photo shoot for Blue. He flirting with her. He represents a lingerie brand, or he does marketing for a lingerie brand. He said when they were looking for somebody sexy, he thought of her, or something he said to that effect. And he was already doing marketing and branding for the group. What's the group wasn't called? Pretty Ricky. He was already doing marketing and branding for Pretty Ricky, so he just expanded it. He said to $1 million business. Okay. So Shay hires him to do marketing for Shay J Fit. That's her company. And she tells him that she and Pleasure Pete broke up because she doesn't think that he's aware of it. And then Blue is like, oh, so I can flirt with you? Now, mind y'all, he already been flirting, right? Oh, I can't smash. She like, no, you can't flirt with me. No, you can't smash. She like, I can't smash. And Shay is like, we will never, ever have sex. Now, somebody called it a long time ago that they were going to be, you know, a couple. And I was kind of like, oh. And I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with short people or short men, you know, but he's on the shorter side. I think it's like more like how they carry themselves and their confidence. And he don't seem to be lacking in, you know, confidence from what we can tell. We see Joy greeting Raymond or Pleasure P. I don't know if that's his, I can't remember his other name. We just gonna say Pleasure P. And I am sort of just shocked. Oh my gosh. Because I'm like, they sure have done a good job of keeping people in the loop. So even though Pleasure P has broken up with Shay, Pleasure P is still in the story because he in this loop with Joy now. You see how they do that? It's like, I'm impressed. I'm like amazed. Thank you for the like. So he, you know, they go to the restaurant and he's like, you know, she says, I heard you were single, you know, in the club. I saw Shay. That's what Joy is saying. I saw Shay with Scrappy. And then he's like, oh, I got to look into this a little bit more. Then Trina arrives. And in the interview, she's like, everyone knows Pleasure P is a player. So she doesn't want her cousin with him. And she's like, hi, P, you know, I didn't expect to see you. You know, my cousin Joy, she needs to be out here free and not, you know, held down to anybody. And Pleasure P is like, hey, I'm free too. You know, I don't want to be held down either. So Raymond says that he is hoping that this will be his chance with Trina. So we got two people who Alan sent a link. We got two people, one who don't want to be serious. Joy might want to be serious with Pleasure P. Pleasure P say he don't want to be serious. Trina don't know if she want to be serious with Raymond or not, but Raymond says he knows he wants to be serious with Trina. Okay, so then we see Gunplay, and he's saying, I love Kiera. I'd do anything to get her back, but things aren't good, and I got to get this this album out. So he's in Atlanta. He's meeting with his label, and then Rick Ross or Rose or something. But Rick Ross is his rep for the label or whatever, and he tells Rick Ross, Gunplay does, that he had a relapse, a little bit of a relapse. And I'm like, can you have a little bit of a relapse? Is it like being a little bit pregnant? I guess if you have a little bit of a relapse and then you get back on track. But you know, and then his Rick Ross is like, you know, you got to be a leader, you know, your role, you know, that's your role. You got to take the leadership role, and you only need to be around folks who are on what you're on. And I'm like, no, don't be around folks who are on cocaine. But he meant on what you're on, like the leadership tip, the being healthy tip, the being, you know, drug-free tip. That's what he meant. And then, you know, the A game, you know, you were born a winner. It's time to do what we came to do, and I'm going to ride with you. So he letting them know, you know, I have high expectations for you, but I'm here for you. We see JoJo meeting with her dad at a restaurant, and her dad asked her to lunch. So she says, he says that it was something important, and he wants to talk to her about, you know, your brother testified against me, is her older brother, and he calls him Bendejo, which is kind of like scrub. Somebody told me it's kind of like scrub, or it's kind of like, it's not really a compliment. It's like butthole or something like that. And then he's like saying, I choose you to be the heiress. I guess the man, her older brother, was supposed to be the heir to the throne, to the money, to the businesses. But now that the brother done testified against him, he like, I want you to get the money, the throne, the businesses. And don't make the same mistake as your mom. And JoJo is like, he wants me to turn my back on my mother and to take his empire as a reward. And the dad is like, your mother broke up the family. And JoJo is like, you know, what you're talking about now is pride. You don't want to lose to mama. And the dad is like, I never have lost in my life. And don't make the same mistake as your mama. And be careful, my love. And then he exits, you know, upstage center or whatever. Then we see Steph. She's at a hotel, and she's hearing about the bike ride from Veronica Vega, and she says, I'm so proud of you, you must be so tired, so tell me everything. And then Veronica Vega is like, you know, it really broke me down. You know, I see the things that some of the things that I've taken for granted, you know, all of the help that people have given me in my life, a lot of times I've taken it for granted. And, you know, I felt responsible for helping the folks on the bike ride, and a lot of them were so ungrateful like me, and I could see that. And I don't know if I even want to do music anymore. You know, I said I wanted to do music to change people's lives, but now I might want to do something else. You know, I need to get in a more positive space. And I even thought about Amara during the bike ride. And then Steph is like, I want to see you two get into a space and have a calm conversation. And I feel like you two can come together and resolve this. So we know it's not going to be immediate, but probably by the end of the season, they're going to be best friends. Because you figure if she best friends with Hollywood now, Amara, she can be, you know, we can all work it out and get along. I guess that's the moral of the story, right? Then we see Blue in the studio, and in comes Shay, and Blue is, you know, she's like, Blue is helping me with my brand. I'm so happy. And she's bringing him promo stuff, which confused me. Like, it seemed like he would need the digital copies to blow it up and do this and wrap that or whatever he said he was going to do. And he's, you know, she's like, well, thank you so much. Thank you for doing more than my so-called man was helping me when I had a man, which I also didn't understand, because if your so-called man is not in marketing and this man is in marketing and you're paying this man to do your marketing, he should be doing more for you than your so-called man. But anyway, Pleasure P ends up coming in, and he's earlier than expected. And Blue is like, why ain't you telling me that so Shay says, you know, Blue, why didn't you tell me that he was going to be here? You know, I don't want to be around him. And Pleasure P is like, well, leave. And then they argue, and they're going back and forth, and he's trying to check her for hanging out with Scrappy. And you know, she like, you know, that was after the fact, and you had dipped your stuff in the Jamaican JJ, and yeah, there was some stuff going on. And then, you know, homegirl says news travels fast on these Miami streets. You know, I ain't been here that long, but Joy about to learn to keep my name out of her mouth. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then Joy is the one who told Pleasure P about Scrappy. I don't know if I mentioned that. But we see Pleasure P and Blue argue after Shay leaves, and Blue is like, well, we just getting money, says Blue. And then, well, why ain't you let me know, says Pleasure P. That's the type of thirsty thing that you're doing. I think that's thirsty. That's with my ex. You doing it behind my back. Pleasure P been with Shay for 2 years, we find out. I didn't realize they had been together that long. Did I know that? And Pleasure P is like, well, I guess she's more important than family. And the guy is like, no, you're family. And he like, then why wouldn't you tell me if I was family? And they go back and forth and back and forth. Then we see JoJo, and she's in the car, and she's riding with the window down, and there's sad music playing, and it's court day. And she's like, I have to testify against my mom or my dad. Thanks to my parents and their selfishness, I have to side with my dad or my mom. If I side with my dad, my mom will be left with nothing. If I side with my mom, I'll be left with nothing. So we don't know what she's going to decide to do. What you think she's going to do? I think she's going to side with her mom. So then we see Veronica and Steph arriving to meet up at an event. They're meeting up with Amara. It's a surprise pop-up at a networking event. Steph wanted to mediate between Vega and Amara. Vega is like, I don't really think this is an appropriate place, but since we're here, did you talk to JoJo about me? And Amara is like, yes, you're disrespectful, and I don't mess with you. You know, yes, I did. This is what I told her. This is why you're disrespectful, and I don't mess with her. And then up walks Young Hollywood, and Veronica is like, oh, I thought we were fighting over Young Hollywood. Now y'all together, you a couple. And Amara's like, no, we're not a couple. We're just working together. And then they get into this whole back and forth. And then Amara calls her a fake biatch, and then an opportunist, or she calls her an opportunist and a fake biatch. And Veronica is like, you have a fake afro. Show your real hair, show the real you. And then Young Hollywood goes over to Veronica Vega to comfort her. And I think that he says that it's Amara's fault, and that he thinks that Amara should have just chilled. And that's the end of the episode. So, I don't know. I might have to watch that back, because I kind of felt like they were both going at each other, and I don't understand how it's Amara's fault. And I just felt really offended that the boy jumped ship and was on the white girl side once again, or the whiter girl side, or you know, I didn't know what was going on. But anyway, that was it. That's what I got. I'm Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. I don't know what these dogs are barking about. Today is the best day ever. Be you, be fabulous, you. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Be you, be fabulous, you.